Okay, this episode and every episode in season 3 for now is brought to you by the law firm of Cease and Desist. We have a special guest host today. It is a devoted listener, because it's season of the listener. It's the devoted listener, Askan, advocate for Klal Yisrael. It is, of course, Yossi Beller, joining us from an undisclosed location, as you can tell from the hostage style screenshot, because I think his video is lagging. Yes. Yossi, welcome to the back of the show.
Hello, thank you for having me. I've always wanted to be called an Askin, so I guess I could cross that off my bucket list.
All right.
And yet I still lost the Mizrach Vant.
No one cares. No one cares. It's like fantasy teams and your Mizrach Vant pick. No one remembers them. No one cares.
I actually put it in my Twitter bio just so people wouldn't care.
Yeah. So, yes, we don't really do interviews anymore on this show. But if you want to do like a quick plug of who you are and where people can follow you, I know we're flipping the format on its head. Normally, it's like as people are shutting it off and everything. That's when you have to squeeze in. But tell the fellow back of the show listeners who you are and your claim to fame.
So I don't really have much to plug, or I'm a guy. If you want to find me on Twitter, I'm say Krumer. Other than that, I'm not really on any. I think I actually am officially on Facebook, but I haven't been on there in quite some time. So really, it's just Twitter for now.
Has anyone?
Exactly.
Under the age of 55.
I ask a question on the kosher restaurant chat every once in a while, but that's about it. That's what Facebook gets.
Do you like win anything on the kosher restaurant? By the way, that's the only group that anybody under 55 is on. The Great Kosher Restaurants one.
That's the one. Yeah, I've tried every one of their contests, but I've never won. So,
right.
Kind of given up now.
Is that the claim to fame?
That's it.
Noted Great Kosher Restaurant questionnaire. Should have added that to the intro. Okay, yeah. So now we're holding. Okay, wait, hold on. He's frozen again.
We should just screenshot it.
Am I back?
Yes, that was a great screenshot. You were frozen on the.
Oh, great.
Yeah. Oh man, I should really keep that in for YouTube purposes. Okay, yeah.
I think you should.
Yeah. Okay, so
by the way, on a side note, I was thinking, you know how everybody knows a guy who sends around Divrei Bracha, and they always start off with
another great
ballad of Shnas, Tufshin, Pei. I feel like you should start off every episode like that.
Right. Well, that's what I was just going to say. I was going to segue in where we're holding now by the 9 days. And the burning question that on my mind right now that I guess we'll start the show with is how many siyumim on Maseches Yuma have you guys been invited to?
Well, I was just at one today actually, but
really,
yeah.
Good. Okay, see, I was joking, but I do tell.
That was a really good barbecue. Good food.
My brother-in-law tried to set something up where we have about 4 or 5 people in the family that all learn Daf Yomi. So he's like, wait, if one of us makes a siyum each day, that'll get us to Friday, and then we'll pretty much go the whole, the whole 9 days.
It's kind of dumb to have done one today. I mean, if you only have one, don't waste it on Sunday. Like, save it for Tuesday, Wednesday.
Well, what makes you think there's only one?
Okay, that's a fair point.
That's the whole point. Like, what's the over/under on how many siyumim on Maseches Yuma you're going to get invited to? I think the over/under is like 50 and a half.
50, it means that you're going to get invited to, or that are made overall?
Okay, maybe made overall.
Made overall, I think probably like 40,000.
No, get invited to has got to be, the line has got to be 3. 3.5.
Really?
So, I mean, this year is actually a good year for siyums between Yuma now and Pesachim by Pesach. It's always like the guy who's like 2-3 days behind is coming to hook everybody up.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get into Minyan Updates. You know what? I was gonna start, but instead, Menachem, we'll start with you. We'll start with you,
Oh, okay.
and we'll work it around clockwise.
So my Minyan update is something that I just realized is that I think I mean, you'll correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like it's now just kind of a generally accepted thing that just like don't correct the Balcore by Matos Mase. It's just like he has a hard enough job already. It's just like just let him be. It's like, especially when you're sitting through these like 10-15 minute aliyahs, it's just like whatever. We're not going to correct it unless it's something like, well, it actually happens to be that this Shabbos the Balcore said Leine Kol Yisrael instead of Leine Kol Mitzrayim, so that he was corrected on.
I think Menachem, going back to your original point, like there's a couple of times like long parshias you do not correct, and for the love of God, do not correct a bar mitzvah boy laning, unless he's going really slow and you want to rattle him so he goes faster. Then you correct it. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess I'm going next in the clockwise version of things. Something really interesting happened to me that I never really thought would happen to me, but I also never really thought about it. I bought a bima.
What?
I bought a bima. My shul needed a bima, and I bought a bima. Like,
where do you pick that up from?
So this was my question too. Now it happened to be I knew a guy who knew a guy who knew a guy, but I looked online. Like, there are places to buy these things. It's not really something you think about, but
like
I bought a bima. It's in my garage.
Yeah, it's if it is on Amazon, what is the people also bought? Is it like
like, well, we have
on top.
Right? It's true. Or we have this Aron Kodesh on sale in case you're interested.
People also bought balled up used tissues. Yeah, that's actually very interesting. I didn't know it was. Wait. So where'd you buy it?
So my brother-in-law knew a guy who was supposed to have a shul in his house, and he couldn't get permits for it. So the shul was elsewhere, and he needed to get rid of it. So.
Oh, so it wasn't like an online deal.
No, it wasn't online. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
It was like new in the advertisements.
All right. Yeah. So you got a Minyan update?
Yeah, I got a Minyan update. Could be I'm very late to the party over here, but on Shabbos I was in shul, and I saw Kids Speak 13.
13?
I thought that they making that at 4.
What?
Kids Speak 13.
13. I remember.
Wow.
Yeah, I was shocked. I thought that it stopped at like 4, maybe 5.
Wait, so are they still making them now?
I think so.
Guess.
Like, did the guy who write them, like, is he still alive?
I guess so. And I actually looked, I actually did some research, and People Speak is up to 12.
Whoa.
So
wow. By the way, that's always my favorite distinction. Like, even as a kid, I used to laugh at, like, there's kids. All right, now we'll get to the real people, Subhuman speak 12, actual people speak 13.
Was there like a parental warning on the People Speak books, like this?
I don't think so, because I don't think like there was any because I mean I remember that like the story with the girl that they couldn't say what happened to her, like that was in Kids Speak. You know which one I'm talking about, right?
Yes, that was. I know exactly what you're talking about.
I don't think so. I don't think I remember.
Stranger.
Oh yes, yes. Okay, yes.
There was the story where I was reading it and like I just couldn't understand like why this was a story. I was reading it as like I don't know, like a 5-6-year-old kid. It's just like why is like and nothing happened. And then like 10 years later, or maybe even more, then like I just somehow was reminded. I was like, oh, that's what that was talking about.
Right. It's funny that they're only up to, what did you say, 12, 13?
12 for people and 13 for kids.
So it's weird because if they're still putting them out now, I feel like there should be more. Because I feel like 10 years ago they were up to like 8, and they were just like putting them out one after another.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
I think I actually read somewhere that Chaim Walder was just like put like his books were just banned, or he was just like put in cherem or something like that.
What?
Like I don't know what he like wrote.
Or either that, or he's just like, maybe he has a podcast. Maybe there's like a People Speak podcast where he's like, I feel like that's a real thing. Like maybe he's just using the books as a plug. So like every season, like since he switched over to podcast format,
And he just decided not to tell anyone about it.
I don't know. Well, who knows? I don't know.
Maybe. I mean, actually, yeah. I can't imagine that I would know, even if.
So maybe that's
Yeah.
why it stopped at 12. He
That's
switched
what
over
I'm
to
saying.
podcasts.
Right, that's what I'm saying. That maybe.
Do you think the people that are kids speak put it on their shut up resume, like as featured in Kids Speak number 9?
I mean,
that is red
depends.
flag 101.
I mean, it depends on what the story was. I think there are certain stories that they definitely don't want there.
Well, like,
not
the famous
to mention
story-
any of the stuff that we were previously talking about.
I feel like
You know
that
the
question
famous
is
one
like,
with the guy who got the scar on his face, and then he
Yeah,
saved
yeah.
the girl, and that whole
was in
thing.
Kids Speak?
people.
Well, I don't remember where it was, but
that
whatever it was,
wouldn't
like
make sense to be on his shidduch resume because it's kind of how he got married.
I was saying,
Right.
no, I was saying more like, hey, I recognize you. Were you in Kids Speak?
It's like you have this really ugly thing on your face.
Or like
I'm so
Oh
sorry.
no! Oh, sorry. I guess you're just ugly. Sorry.
or like the kid with the crembo. Like he sees the kid in a store ordering crembo or whatever it's called.
Like, oh my god, you!
That's the guy. He's ordering crembo. Like that starts like
By the
doing
way-
the instant IG live.
Sully, is that you?
I was thinking the same thing with regards to like yeshiva farharas for Tzviki Green. It's like, wait a second. Yeah, that's me, Tzviki Green.
But going back to the shidduch question, if that's on the resume, I feel like that would be more of a Miami Boys Choir thing. If you're Miami Boys Choir, Yeshiva Boys Choir, that would be on the resume. A Kids Speak that's more of an Israeli thing.
Right. Or like they check into the family like, oh yeah, it gets back to the shotgun. Sorry, we're looking for more of a Miami Boys Choir style guy. Like not really.
Like Yeshiva Boys Choir, not really for us.
Too many auto tunes. Really, it doesn't align with our values.
We're looking for a boy who's into girls. Sorry, you might want to cut that one out. And Yosef's gone.
Yosef's gone. We're just plowing through. We're just gonna plow through this episode. Besides, he went already. Yeah. Okay, so I'll just go with my Minyan update. So I was gonna at first, maybe call out a certain podcast that professes to only be a few minutes long, but isn't kind of trashing us on said podcast. But it's the 9 days, and I don't want to beef with anybody. All right, there's a good flashing pun right there. So instead, I this past Shabbos, my worst fear was realized. Not my worst fear, but it's definitely out there. So I had walked over to cousins on Shabbos, and like I realized I wasn't going to get back home in time, for the mincha by my shul. So I dived in there, but I didn't have like a jacket, or for my kid shidduch purposes a hat. We'll just say that.
That's your worst fear?
No. That's not my worst fear. maybe 10 years ago it was, but not anymore. So yeah. So basically, I just had like regular like white shirt, suit pants on, but I got an aliyah, and I was like, I felt I had like a stain on my shirt, and I'm normally not one that has stains on his shirt, but I was very self-conscious, and I couldn't see it like on the front, right? Obviously, so I just okay, whatever. I calmed myself down, like okay, I see that it's not. Basically, Motzei Shabbos, I was changing out of that shirt, and I guess one of my kids got 2 massive grape juice stains on the back of my shirt, and it was there for the entire shul to see.
As long as your wife doesn't know about it, you're okay.
Yeah, the problem is she does. Well, now at least. Yeah, I see. This is why you should Bachram out there. This is why you should always at least wear a jacket everywhere.
Yeah, and you need to wear a tie to make sure, just in case you have the stain right in the middle.
That's why they all wear it like slung over the shoulder.
I feel like that's like a Rebbe at the urinal situation.
Did you ever have that where you get like you're at the urinal with a Rebbe? It's all time
It's
awkward.
happened.
All time awkward.
It's the worst.
It's just, you want to like give a head nod, but like you don't want to just like ignore him because he's a Rebbe. But
Shalom Aleichem, Rebbe.
I remember I was at a wedding and I was in the bathroom with Reuven, so that was an experience.
Wow. Actually, by the way, so actually, funny story on that. My great grandfather just told me this last week. My great grandfather used to, he was on the Lower East Side, so obviously a lot of the Gedolim were there. So, yeah. so a lot
Once
of the,
again, this is why you have to watch the video.
Exactly. This is why. Yeah. By the way, for all those that are not watching a YouTube video, you're missing out. This is a masterclass in smooth technical productions and everything. So my they grew up on the Lower East Side. So my great grandfather used to basically, if let's say a Rosh Yeshiva or a Rebbe was in the area, and he would take my grandfather to meet them, but he would station himself right by the bathroom. He's like, everybody else is trying to like shake his hand or whatever, like or meet him in the base manager. No, they always need to use the bathroom before they give the shiur or whatever it is. So he literally used to position himself right by the bathroom so they could, like, coming out, they would meet them.
It's like
you can't really shake his hand though.
Well,
afterwards,
coming out.
Oh, okay.
But it's funny because it's like all those stories in the Gemara that Tanam used to like hide like in the bathrooms, like under the beds to like see what they did. It's like I felt like that with Reuven. It's like
that is a major foreshadow to my Shemonah Esrei.
Okay. Hold it. So put a pin in that.
Yeah, we'll circle back.
Circle back. There we go. Circle back. Actually, we can get into that right now. We can get into that. I think we all did our Minyan updates. So Yossi, go for it with the Shemonah Esrei.
So with all these, all throughout Shas, you have all these personal anecdotes. As just mentioned, I wonder, like, when they're writing Shas, like the Rav Winner Rav Ashi were sitting there, and they're like, how about that story about Rava? No, you can't say that story. And then, it's like, no, we totally could. And like a couple of years later, Rava was like opening the Gemara. It's like, what? They said that about me? And I wonder what the process was. Did they get permission? Did they like that conversation go down?
Right.
Like,
it's funny now. I'm curious about what they left out.
Right. I mean, so I'm kind of assuming that, like, with the stuff that made it in, like, they probably don't leave anything out. Like, if that stuff made it in, everything made it in.
But I
wonder,
people say that about our podcast also. So, and there's definitely a lot of stuff left out.
I just wonder, was there ever like a moment of, you'll be hearing from my lawyers?
That was off the record.
I can't believe that's in there. And it's like in the Gemara, it's not like it's there.
So, it's like, I didn't know you were under my bed that night.
That one I don't know what I'm supposed to glean from that, but I always wonder, to be honest, like I think I've mentioned this. I don't know if I mentioned it on the show or just like stam in conversation. The famous LIRR Daf Yomi shiur, right? Mm-hmm. So there are other people, like regular commuters, in the car with them, in the train car with them. So when they hear these Gemaras, like, I would love to know, like, what's going through their head, like, oh wow, this is the ancient text that they're studying, and it's like, and he hid under the bed, for.
By the way, on that note, also, for those of us who finished Maseches Yuma, like, the ending is a little interesting. So to see him today, there are a lot of women there and kids. So just like stuff like that is always.
But stuff like that, you don't really need to be specific. You just like say it in Hebrew.
And but the guy who was making the siyum did have to be specific. He wanted very specific.
That's great because he's like just
I also wonder by the yeshiva dinners, were they like promoting like, and one of the Rebbeim got so drunk on Purim he killed his chavrusa.
Yeah.
See, imagine if you're like learning that in shul, and you're like learning out loud because you're in shul, and then like you find out like a day or two later that like you had completely wrong shot and were making it up.
Yes. Oh, by the way, yeah, that is another one. Like, I mentioned one of my, as my Minyan update, one of my worst fears. That's another one. Like learning out loud in shul, and another guy just like there, just like, dude, that is just not even close. Not even close.
Yeah.
I actually
there's
had
that.
that
where
where
it's not even
I was
close.
learning. See, this is the problem with bad internet connections.
One more time.
Let's try that.
Go ahead. Our guest.
Yeah, go ahead.
So it's one thing where like what you're learning is like completely off shot, and then there's another thing where like what you're making up is like a sugya that you wouldn't want to be saying out loud. Like if it's a sugya, that's a sugya, but if it's not even a sugya and you're making it up, that's a lot worse.
So
Right.
I had a drive-by shooting one time where a guy was just walking by as I'm saying a word, and he gives me the translation as I'm learning while he's walking by, and he just keeps going.
That's an alpha move right there. That's an alpha move. By the way, actually, my Shemonah Esrei thought actually dovetails kind of well off that. It's very quick, but it's something that bugs me a little bit. When talking about someone who is like very learned, I realize no one ever just says he's a Talmud Chacham. Like we always have to throw in an adjective to really quantify or qualify that he's a real Talmud Chacham. He's a big Talmud Chacham. He's a massive Talmud Chacham. Just say he's a freaking Talmud Chacham. Like, why do I need? Even there, I said freaking Talmud Chacham instead of. Just say he's a Talmud Chacham. Like, why do we always need a like?
That's something I would like to hear. This guy, he's a freaking Talmud.
Like, where do we cut the line? Like, he's a gargantuan Talmud Chacham.
You know what it is, by the way. It's the one-upism. It's the I know this guy, he's a huge Talmud Chacham. Oh yeah, well I know a guy, he's a massive Talmud Chacham.
It's like my Tati's stronger than your Tati.
Exactly.
It's like my Rosh Hashiva knows more than yours. My Rosh Hashiva finished shots more times than your Rosh Hashiva.
Going along with that, I feel like every Rebbe in yeshiva, he's such a genius, and like in like the yeshiva world, the word genius is so abused that it's like, yeah, I mean there are plenty of like smart guys who are a bane, but like if everyone's a genius, then it's like Albert Einstein was a genius, but like Rabbi, so and so, he's a smart guy, but genius is a little bit much. That was one of my pet peeves for a while.
Right. No, I always wonder, like, where's the cutoff? Like, how big is too big for a Talmud Chacham? Like, big, massive, like, those are okay, but if you say, like, enormous, right, or rotund, no, I guess not rotund, but...
I think gargantuan might be a bridge too far.
Yeah, I just, whatever. I just want to know the limitations, right? And also why we need to double accentuate how a big, massive freaking of a Talmud Chacham he is. Yeah.
So I don't really have a Shemonah Esrei thought, but I did have like a really, I guess it's something that kind of fits here, which is the crossover between Hebrew or Yiddish or whatever words and English words that sound very similar. I was at a meeting and a frum lady was talking, and she goes, I really don't want to put the onus, and she goes like, catches herself. She's like, what's the word? What's the word for it? She thought that the word onus was.
There are a bunch of words like that. Like henchman. Henchman is like, I would think it's a Yiddish word. Right?
Well,
Deus.
My favorite
yes,
one
definitely. Or acapella.
My favorite one is famished.
When I found out that was an English word, I was shocked. I could not believe acapella was an English word.
My favorite one is famished. Famished.
Right.
Famished.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. You should have just like chimed in with, oh yeah, it's I don't know, patre or something like that. Yeah, Menachem, you have a Shemonah Esrei thought?
Yeah, I do have one. So this is one that I kind of thought for a while, but it kind of materialized the other week, in that I think minyanim are like currency. It's kind of like if you believe in it, then it exists, but if you don't believe in it, then it doesn't exist. It's like it doesn't matter like what the official thing is, as long as people believe in it, it exists. It's like with money. It's like even if the dollar the dollar value depends on what people believe in. Like the Zimbabwe dollar, whatever, even though it's like an officially licensed government, whatever, it's worth nothing. But like Bitcoin is not like everyone's trying to say it's worth nothing, but it's worth something because people believe it is. So it's like with Minyanim. Like there was a show that I was davening in that they absolutely refuse. They're like, there is no 10 o'clock minyan. The last minyan is 9:30. No matter what, there is not a 10 o'clock minyan. But guess what? Every day people came at 10 o'clock and made a minyan, and everyone knew there was a minyan, so everyone came at 10 o'clock and they davened there, even though the show insisted there's no 10 o'clock minyan.
They prayed it into existence.
Right. And there's a different show I was davening in that like it's officially on the calendar. There's a 9:15 minyan. Every day they tried pushing it. It's like there's a 9:15 minyan, come, and just people just didn't believe there was a minyan, so they just didn't show up. So it's just a thought that is interesting how it's just like a minyan, it doesn't matter if it's official or not. If people believe in it, there's a minyan. If not,
so basically you're saying that like a Shiners, a Shemer Shabbos, a Landau's, it's just there. It's not even so much a Makam Tefillah as much as it is a Makam Emunah. Like there's just a lot of people believing that there's going to be minyanim there.
Like the reason why people come isn't because there's an official minyan whenever. They come because they believe there's going to be a minyan.
It's basically like a room of requirement for minyanim.
With the chamber pots included.
Oh, I would not. Whatever. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, at least in Shemer Shabbos, like there's no difference between like the bathrooms there and like the bread that they give out for the people. Like I can't tell the difference. It's filled with cesspool of germs.
Well, as I said, I was in Shiners one time, and a guy carried on a 40-minute conversation in the bathroom. He was on the phone for 40 minutes, comes out, and continues the conversation. Just completely went with it, you know?
I wish I had that confidence.
You get that in the mikveh too.
Right. Yeah, except way worse. Is it way worse? I don't know.
It is definitely way worse.
I don't know. I go to mikveh like once a year, so.
Same, but those couple of times is, that's.
It's true. I that once a year, it's like you hope a people speak incident doesn't happen to you.
Everybody has a mikveh horror story.
I was just doing a little callback there.
I mean, I guess. You know what? Maybe. But also you reminded me with the Shomer Shabbos thing. Like I remember when I was a little kid, I would go to Borough Park with my father, and I would just like see the food there, and I would just like, oh, like maybe I'll take a cookie. My father's just like, no, like do not eat the food here. Do not touch the food here. Do not look at the food here.
The first time I was, I used to work across the street from Shomer Shabbos, and like the first time I davened there on a, I think it was like Matzeh Sam Gedalia, I want to say. So like, is that a thing? Do you say Matzeh by Sam Gedalia? Now I'm second guessing myself. I wish I had.
Sure,
see if I had the confidence to just talk on the phone in the bathroom, I wouldn't be second guessing myself here.
Right.
If you say with enough confidence, there is a Matzeh Sam Gedalia.
Right. So Matzeh Sam Gedalia, I was actually davening in Shomer Shabbos, and I saw like there was a nice spread of like Danishes and maybe even donuts or whatever, and I was about to, and then I saw who I was like fighting with to get there, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna head on out of here.
I don't think this is for me.
Yeah.
Go somewhere else.
It's a certain kind of person who like takes the soup at Shiners. Not everybody does it. It's a certain kind of person.
But like even
Shiners
is like 100 levels above Shomer Shabbos.
For sure.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
hundreds of levels above Shomer Shabbos.
It goes in terms of like ascending in hierarchy, right? It's like Shomer Shabbos right on the bottom, like dead last. Landau's is like a little bit more tolerable, and then you have Shomer Shabbos, and all the way off to the corner, like trying to figure out the combination to get in is the Avas and Passaic. That was just like a drive-by shot at
Totally deserved though.
Yeah. But by the way, actually, Yossi, it's funny that you mentioned that because just on Rosh Chodesh was Shabbos, so it couldn't have been then. I think it must have been either. I think it was when. Oh no, it was July 4th. July 4th. So July 5th. July 5th Nidcha, whatever. July 4th Nidcha. So I was davening in Shiners, and I saw a guy. Okay, so he took from like some guy was giving tikkun, so he took right. Fought to. Then he went back for doubles. I was blown away. Like, it's one thing to take. it's another thing to circle back and then go for doubles.
Maybe he wasn't sure if he had a share for Mechia. You have to be born first, you know?
Right. That's true.
Which,
by
by the
you
way,
reminded
it dovetails nicely into a thought that I have, which is that the previous generations were way cooler than we are. I remember by a ticket one time seeing a guy pour probably 3 to 4 shots of bourbon into his orange juice, drink the entire thing, turn around to the
Nice.
guy who's giving ticket and go, What? I'm just driving around the corner. Like, not what? I'm not driving. Like, what?
Back when
I'm just
men were
driving around
men.
the corner.
and Sifrituro were
Reciprocator.
I think you should just add that on all the time.
Yeah, everybody built their own Bima. And stuff.
So talking about Tikkun, I feel like you know how like you have all old people nowadays who like, oh, bar mitzvah in my day was sponge cake and l'chaim, a wedding in my day was in the basement of a shul. I feel like when we're old men, we'll be able to say like a Tikkun in my day was sponge cake and schnapps, and now it's a whole crazy thing. Just so you read this there, so I feel like it's gonna be something like that when we're old.
Exactly. And now with your what's the next level past charcuterie? Yeah.
Ice sculptures for a ticket.
Avram and Achai.
You're having craft beer instead of a little l'chaim? Yeah. Back in my day, who actually? I know Joe, you said that a guy did, but like, Lamai said, like, who takes the booze on a weekday ticket?
Oh,
like,
a lot of people.
I'm sorry, like, listen, I love a drink. Like, I drink every episode. I love a good drink, but if you're taking at a ticket, like when you're, I mean, you might need to ask some questions. I don't know.
I mean, besides for that, the booze that they serve is usually Old Williamsburg, or like
yeah, exactly, like a purple amaretto or something like that.
Just like whatever they found, like digging in their liquor closets.
Right.
Like,
What did
the
the clients give us for Shalach Manis? I know we hated it; it was a piece of crap. But like, what did we give it?
It's like hazelnut flavored something.
What was it? Jefferson's?
No. It's like the Italian sounding liquor where you're like, this is not a good sign.
Oh my gosh, I'm remembering now. When I was in Israel, I think first, right? So the shop was in Tzfas, and it was kind of like a means justify the ends. We found a bottle of scotch. I think 20 shekels, called like King George Scotch, and it was like a real.
That sounds awful.
Justify the means kind of thing. Yeah, it was really bad. It just reminded me of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember much from that one.
No, that's a different one.
That's a different one?
A different one.
All right, he just told him himself. Yeah. That's a good thing our parents don't listen to this anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's move on to our Mizrach Vant. Mizrach Vant today is
I gotta get mine.
Yeah. Is the Mizrach Vant of rules. You know what I realized we didn't even announce? We're going to pick the winner at the end of the episode.
Oh, yeah. I have you have I wrote all the names on papers and I crumpled it up and put in a hat. I spent time on this.
Wait, the winner for what?
What?
The winner for what?
The listener raffle to be featured on back of the show. Okay, yes, it's the Mizrach Vant of rules in honor of the 9 days and the special rules. I keep doing this. I keep almost trying to rationalize and apologize for why we chose a Mizrach Vant. You know, we chose what it is. Like it's there's the clicker.
I don't understand why you do that every time. It's like, well, how does this fit into? Like, who cares? Just do it.
Yeah.
I said, none of the stuff that we ever pick has anything to do with even the actual thing that we're doing anyway. So it doesn't even matter, especially not yours.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so Yossi's gonna go first. I think I went first last time.
Oh, I should check. Hold on. I think you did, but let me just check.
Don't take too long checking because our whole stream might explode.
Okay, last time it was Shlomo, Yosef, then me. So it means this time it's going to be Yosef, me, Shlomo. But Beller, you could go first. Yosef.
Okay, so I'm going to go with the low-hanging fruit over here. My first pick is the 10-second rule. Nothing beats that, really.
Nice.
Wait, it got cut off. What did you say?
The 10-second rule.
Oh, the 10-second rule. Okay.
It's a great pick.
I'm sure you all have that. I just have to take that
Need
first.
no explanation.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Who's next?
So
Yosef, you're
What's
next.
the order again?
Me,
Yosef,
Menachem,
then
you?
me, then Shlomo.
Yeah, so I'm going to go with the golden
Okay.
rule, which is actually philosophical, but it's the Hillel's Mandasani Lach L'Chaved L'Savhid. The don't do unto
Right.
others what
So
is hateful
is that-
to
is
you.
that-
So you're picking the golden rule.
Yeah, the golden rule. But don't write it as the golden rule because people
I'm-
don't look at it. I'm kidding,
It's
I'm
the
kidding.
golden rule.
No, but I was gonna say it's the golden rule, right?
It is.
That's what it is. Yeah.
I mean, it is the golden rule. I mean, there's
It is the
also
golden
there are other golden rules.
Right, but
Like-
this is the golden rule.
Right. I mean, that is the official golden rule, but there's also like
Don't say any of them, but
I want to say, but I don't want to say. And Shlomo's gone. Nope, he's back. There's also one
No,
that I
no,
want to
no,
say,
no.
but I don't want to just like have Shlomo just cut it right in the middle because that would be really annoying for him. So maybe I'll say it at the end.
All right, Menachem, your turn. I believe.
Okay, so my first pick is going to be the Cherem Rabbeinu Gershom of two wives. I feel like that was a good one. Just like, I just feel like overall it's probably a good idea.
It's just the time for the.
By the way,
two
funny.
incomes.
Yeah. No. Funny story on that. So I remember I was once talking about that with my wife, and to all our female listeners, if you're gonna get offended by this, like you really shouldn't be listening to the show. Basically, she's like, it's so why aren't you allowed to marry why could a man marry two wives, but what's up with that, like why can't the reverse happen? I'm like, because if a man is stupid enough to marry two women, he gets exactly what's coming to him, so we let him do it.
Exactly. And the problem is
hang on one
men
sec.
are
Okay.
stupid enough, and that's why they had to make the rule.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so my first one, mine is going to be the first rule of Fight Club.
I had that.
That's a good one. I like that.
That's a good one.
It's on my list.
Yeah.
Can I pick the second rule of
I would
Fight
talk
Club
about it. I was going to say I would talk about it, but I can't. So
Right. We're not going to talk about it. Next.
Right. Next. My next one is rule of thumb.
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah, I mean, okay. That's it. That's all. Okay, sure.
But by the way, the origins of rule of thumb. I think it came from somewhere
Yeah,
down
I think that's
south.
the amount, the thickness of the stick you're allowed to beat your wife with, right?
Yeah.
Like it can't be thicker than a thumb. Like, am I wrong? That's what it is, right?
No, that's what it is.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't know that. All right, disavow.
I mean, okay. So it's my turn again now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's your turn.
Okay. My next pick is going to be don't look down on the mikveh.
Yeah.
Very good.
It's a strong rule.
I feel like it's just
It's
generally
just
like a good rule to have. It's one of those situations where you only want eye contact.
Yes.
Like very, very
Yes, like
precise,
straight.
direct eye contact. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
It's
Very
one of
good
the
one.
one of the
All
rare
right, Joe.
situations where intense eye contact makes you more comfortable, not less.
Yes.
Right.
I'm going to go with one that
Right.
I thought Menachem would pick right away, which is the unwritten rules of baseball.
That's
Yeah,
a
I
good
had
one.
that also.
I have to
Yeah,
say, I was
yeah.
genuinely surprised when Menachem didn't pick it first.
I guess I don't know. I guess I just didn't think because the problem is also there's this thing is so broad
Such
that
a broad
like
definition.
it's hard to know. Like I tried to pick ones first that I thought other people might pick, just like you don't know what everyone because you don't know where everyone else's thoughts are going.
Right.
I got the truth is, I feel like we are overlapping more than I thought we would. Like, I feel like we would all just be all over the place
just
and
wait.
like have nothing
Just wait.
to
I got
do
a
with each
couple.
other. All right,
Yeah.
I guess we'll see.
All right, yeah, so you got the next two.
So my
You have
next
two
one
now.
is right. So my next one is, when somebody says the one rule is there are no rules. So
Yes,
that's my next one.
I was hoping no one would take that.
And my next one is when you're playing Kent, no motion codes. That's my next one. No motion codes.
Very good.
I feel like we had a different word for it. I can't remember what it was. There's like, I feel like it wasn't motion. It was something else. But I don't know. I can't remember the word. Whatever.
Very good one.
Yeah, that's Kent. Kent is such a great game.
That's a great
Yeah.
callback also. Yeah.
Kent is like
button.
the camp game when you're just sitting in your bunk and you have to play like on that nightstand in the middle of the, and then like there's a fight because like the card goes under the table and then everyone starts freaking out. Oh, that was fun.
I said cut sweep.
I meant cut. You can't just say cut. You have to say cut, Kent.
But by the way, were you guys more of like
I
a
said
Kent?
cut before you said Kent.
Were you guys Kent people or Prez people?
So
Like
it started with Kent and then it moved to Prez.
Yeah,
Right.
it depends. Like sometimes you're in the mood for Prez. Also, it depends because you had to have exactly 4 people to play Kent. You could have like other amounts and play Prez. Also, sometimes you're just not in, like you have to be like in the mood for Kent. Like you have to be in the mood to punch someone in the face. Like you can't just be like, oh yeah, whatever. I'm just gonna play Kent. And, like you had to be like in it.
You have to wake up that morning and choose violence.
Exactly.
I'm gonna go with one bite. Everybody knows the word.
Okay.
I feel like for
that nobody would say that.
I feel like for our
nobody would say that.
demographic, that's a pretty strong pick.
Right.
That's
good.
Yeah, it is a good one.
It's a little bit of a technicality because it's not the rule. It's just everybody knows that. Yeah, but I guess that is the rule. Okay, fine. Yeah.
Shlomo, you're not the one to talk about technicalities.
I know.
Yeah.
Especially with some of the ones I have on my list, I'm not one to talk.
Okay, I'm trying to think about what I want. So next, I'm going to go with the urinal rule. So it's my favorite rule overall in life because it applies to everything, not just
parking
urinals.
Spots.
Like
parking
everything.
Spots.
Parking spots, seats and shoal, exactly.
Yep. Right.
It's like, I mean, in case anyone's been living under a rock and doesn't know what the urinal rule is, I'll tell you. It's like the general rule is like if there's an open urinal, don't go to the one right next to where someone else is. So just in life, that's just a great rule. Like if there's a place to be,
unless it's a room in there.
What?
Unless
oh
it's
yes, I mean
over there.
no. For educational purposes, sometimes you have to, but whatever.
The greatest violator of the urinal rule is bowling alleys. They always put you right next to the other people.
Yeah, I don't really understand. I'm sure they have some sort of system for doing what they do.
I'll tell you what, they always have bumpers. The one next to you always has bumpers.
It's true. And it's usually for someone who's way too old to be having bumpers.
Yeah. Okay, so I have the last two. I have so many good ones here. I don't even know what to pick. Okay, so I guess I'll go with Ja Rule.
I would say about 28% of our listeners got that.
I'm gonna.
Ja Rule was a rapper from the early 2000s.
And he was involved with the huge Firefest scam. So
right, that's true. I think this one dovetails. No, I'm not going to go with it. You know what? I'm not going to go with it. I'm going to go with same seats on the bus.
That's a very strong one. That's a great call.
Like it was you were already calling same seats before you went on, like to go there. Like you had to establish it's same seats. So choose wisely.
I have one, but it's too similar to that one, so I'm not going to do it. I'm sure you know what it is. I'm sure everyone understands what I'm talking about now. If not, I'll just do it as one of my honorable mentions. But I'm gonna do a different one. So my next pick is going to be I before E except after C. And the reason why I love that rule so much is because I'm pretty sure that there are more words that don't follow that rule than those that do. So that's why it's one of my favorite rules.
That's a good one. I'm going to go with, this was a last second addition just now. I'm going to go with head safeties.
Yeah, I like that one.
It's one of the rules where it's a pity rule where it's like this guy just got hit.
Yeah, it usually gets implemented after someone gets destroyed.
There needs to either be blood or tears in order for that rule to come into play.
Okay. Right. So my last one. So my last one is the rule that they tell the staff members the first, the orientation day before camp.
I knew you were going with that one right away.
You cannot be alone with the camper unless there are cameras present.
Oh my god!
I think that's a very good rule.
As soon as you said
the rule that they tell you before camp,
I was like, knew exactly where you were going with that, and that yes, I didn't have that one, but yes, that is a great one.
See, I was a head counselor this past year, and I had to give that talk, and let me tell you, that was something.
Man,
that's a really good one.
I don't care how much they ask, no sitting on laps.
Exactly. Right. There's never a good time for a piggyback ride.
Not even in the pool.
And by the way, that discussion always starts off with, "There's no easy way to say this."
Right. Oh man, that's a really good one. All right, Yossi, give us some of your honorable mentions.
The honorable mention that I'm gonna say that was too similar to yours was shotgun.
Right. Yeah, it's too similar.
Yeah. Right.
That's a good one. I think it's different enough because
I can't say it. I do think it's different, but I'm just not gonna say it. Like one of those things where okay, fine, you could say it, but yeah.
Right.
So for honorable mentions, I got V'ahavta L'recha Kamocha is called God of the Torah.
Well, that's the golden rule, kind of.
That's a golden rule.
Right.
Yeah.
It's similar, right?
Silver rule.
The more you shiush the simcha, the better the challah is.
That is definitely true. 100%.
That's a big thing. You have to wear a hat on the first date.
Okay.
I also got a few, in the beginning I wasn't sure, rule, or it could be like a ruling, like a psak. So Kol De'am Gvar is a pretty good one, basically fights to death.
Yes, I like that one.
And the other one is split the baby, cut the baby in half. That was a pretty good psak also. You must serve cookies and orange juice if your daughter is going out. You have to do the whole game. You have to see if she's ready. That's also an unwritten rule. You must bring a bagel back here ready from the bris.
Right.
I forgot about that.
You have the pinky rule. That's anything that's done with the finger has to be done with the pinky. Hagba, by the seder, by the wine of Havdalah. Another cool psak is shows pata from Mizrach Vant. You could just completely destroy the thing, but you're good. You must bring a donut to every Rebbe you've ever had the first day that you put in tefillin. Didn't take 3 steps back, then you go back to say instead of starting from Shemonah again by forgetting Av Yavo. I think that's like a huge lifesaver. The shoe rule: the left shoe, right shoe, left tie, right tie. Eating Erev Yom Kippur is like fasting. Adl Yad is a pretty good rule. And my last one is you could avoid Bishul Akum. If you turn on the fire, a guy could cook anything for you, but if you turn on the fire, you're good to go. That's my list.
Right.
All right, so I'm going to go next. The rules of engagement.
Okay.
Defense wins championships. A rule that Menachem told me, which is don't be the cause of traffic.
Right. That applies, by the way, to anywhere, like on the road, in shul, in the bathroom, anything. Yeah.
Just don't be that guy.
Yeah, I had Kava Homer. That's a good one. I like that one.
And then one that I really like, but it kind of stretches the definition of rule way too far, is Shlomo HaMelech's rule. I mean, we were doing really well during Shlomo HaMelech's rule. Like turning
Yeah,
away
so-
Gerim, everybody was rich.
Like I had
Yeah,
Malchus based David on as an honorable
Right.
mention, but yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
All right.
That's it.
Wait, Joe, is that all?
Oh,
Is that
one
all?
more.
Then?
Sorry, one more. This is for the people who have ever been in the mountains. Don't be a mazik.
Oh yeah. There you
Liberty Lanes.
go. All
Right.
Malcolm, go.
Okay. So I have a few. I love the no shaving during the 3 weeks in Sphera just because I hate shaving. So I think that's a great rule. I think we should. I really think we should just go back to just not being allowed to shave ever. Like in the olden days, like no one shaved. Like it wasn't a thing. Then recently we just decided that like you're allowed to shave.
Menachem, if you want, you don't need to shave if you don't want. You know that, right?
But it's one of those things where it's like if everyone else is doing it, it's like whatever. And it's
Malcolm,
and no,
if
it helps if there's a reason
bridge,
to. If there was a good enough reason. I mean, that's the thing. Like if I have a good enough excuse to not shave, then I cannot shave. Otherwise, it's just I'm just lazy. I am, but like that's besides the point.
So just tell people you're a Nazir.
Oh, yeah. I'm not stopping to drink wine, so that's out of the window. But another rule.
Don't actually be a Nazir. Just tell people you're a Nazir.
Say bli neder.
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, if you tell people you're a Nazir, you could also tell them that you saw a site explode.
That's true.
By the way, I was so disappointed when I found out that she didn't actually explode. It was like an internal thing.
Yeah, I know.
It was
It's
very
very
disappointing.
disappointing.
Yeah, just choose what to believe. Like you believe there's a 10 o'clock minion, so you just choose to believe.
That's like
Exactly.
that's
It's
like
like it never happens
there,
anyway, so I could just believe whatever I want, so it's fine.
That's like the Jewish version of finding
Right.
out that Santa Claus and the Tooth Fairy aren't real. The subject doesn't explode.
Right. All right. I also have mix in a water. That's a good rule.
Right.
If the baby's happy, don't bother him. Never assume a woman is pregnant.
Right.
This one is not so much a rule as more of like a mutual understanding. But like it's nice when you're walking down the street and you see someone and they see you and you both know each other, but you just both pretend that you don't know each other and you have that mutual understanding.
Yeah.
So that's really good.
Right.
'Cause,
Like,
I don't want to talk to
we're not
you.
doing
Like you don't want to talk to me. We don't have to like do anything. We'll just both pretend either we didn't see each other, we don't know each other, and whatever.
Okay. So my last few are a para aduma. You know, it's like the most confusing rule of them all. No backsies. The new extra point. Yeah, the new extra point rule in football. It's a good one. Malchus based David, right? Like kind of what Joe said. Not to sound all yeshivish, but Jordan Peterson's 12 rules for life. Okay, the baseball's unwritten rules I think was said already. Oh wait, I should have said this. Rule out, just to rule out. That counts.
Okay. Yeah, sure. That counts.
I think you were better off for not doing that.
Yeah. Klal Pradu Klal Iata Dun Ella blah, 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 whatever.
Or you could just do all of this.
You have 13 of
Meet
those.
us
Right.
13.
Right. Xerashava, the Jordan
also
rules.
known as the Yud Gimel Midah Shatar in the dress.
Yeah, exactly. The Jordan rules.
I'm just gonna throw Ben Pakua in there. Ben Pakua is
Oh.
cool, so you could shoot the thing in the head and just eat it.
By the way, you know there's like a whole thing about a guy who tried to make a Ben Pakua farm? Because like a Ben Pakua that gives birth to another Ben Pakua like for forever, like they're all good. So like technically if you just get like a bunch of Ben Pakuas and just breed them all together, like you could just never have to shaft again.
Where
Well,
was this farm? And like
I think it was in
would love to see the
Australia.
advertising.
And I'm pretty sure the guy's put in Kharam.
Yeah, kind of the thing that the rabbis would not be happy with.
Well, big shit that got to them.
Yeah.
The infield fly rule. Menachem, I'm surprised you didn't do that one either.
I forgot. That's a good one.
Same thing like the mercy rule.
There's also a ground rule double.
Right.
By the way, and this is one of those things that I might be like one of the only people in the world that it bothers, that like 99% of the time, a ground rule double is not a ground rule double. It's an automatic double. A ground rule double is something that's specific to that park. That, like, if they have a certain area of the park, they say, well, if it goes there, it's a ground rule double. If it just bounces into the stands, it's an automatic double, not a ground rule double. But whatever, that's my soapbox for today. Continue.
Sure. My last two are Murphy's Law, and the Bro Code.
Good ones.
I don't know if bro code is a rule. I mean, I guess it is.
I mean,
it's a code. A code is a law. A law could be
more
a
like
rule.
more like guidelines.
Yeah, exactly.
The Pirates Code
podcast. Yeah, from podcast, it's pretty sad that we didn't do like the 10 Commandments.
Oh, right. Yeah, those are good too.
I don't know. I feel like Ja Rule is better than the Aseres Adibris.
Like, don't kill.
Ja Rule.
I feel like that's a good one. Don't commit adultery. I don't know.
Thou shalt not covet.
Covered that with Sota.
Right. And then you can go to like the all the obscure ones. You know, it's kind of never ending. Yeah. So either way, that's the what?
Newton's laws.
Right. Okay. I mean, we can stop.
I can go on. I can go on.
Yeah. I mean, or we could stop and
right.
But I digress.
Yeah. What was I saying? Yeah. So send us any that we missed. I'm sure we missed hundreds, and it's not like we forgot. It's just that we chose others. So it's not always like we forgot. There's a big difference. So send it in. At Back of the Shul, Twitter, Instagram. We don't check Instagram, so send it on Twitter or the WhatsApp.
I check Instagram sometimes. It might take a few days, but
okay, that's perfect. Before we go, Menachem, we have to choose the winner on which listener is going to appear on the next episode of Back of the Shul. Before Menachem selects it in his branded Back of the Shul branded cap. Thank you to the law firms of Cease and Desist for the sponsorship. The competition is still ongoing, I think, for another week. So basically, the rules.
We're doing 3.
No. Oh, you're right. Crap.
Okay, whatever. It's on for at least another week, so you can still apply. Should we do you want to say the rules?
No, because I don't remember them. But we'll repost.
Okay, I mean, neither. That was why I asked you to say them.
All I remember is the last part that Shlomo wrote, which is that if you don't get picked, it's not because we don't like you.
Well, it's true.
I remember there's something about sending back an application. Was that still a thing?
That is not. That was never a thing, and is still not a thing. And to the people who sent me applications, it has no bearing because we're doing a raffle. And I don't care about your applications.
Did anybody send you an application?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, that's amazing.
And so I was very clear in it not meaning anything. I think someone even sent in an application for their friend also. It's like...
Let me just say you did good. You did good, whoever sent in the application.
No, you didn't.
Okay, Menachem, go.
Okay. I'm not looking. Not that they're all like...
Don't make it all like color.
Okay, I got
hold on. This feels like father and son learning.
Yeah.
The number is...
Who had the
142. Does anyone have 142? Is anyone still in?
The best is when they do it for like the garbage prizes, like the ripped rocket ship, yeah, or that's gonna go like maybe 6 inches off the ground.
We should have a Mizrach Vant of father-son learning prizes.
A super stoker.
I have in my hand right now
a 2-liter bottle of Coke.
Should I just show it towards the camera so only the people who watch will know?
Does your first name start with a B? I can't see anything.
Can you see it?
I can't even see. Oh, I could see it. Oh,
I can see it.
What does it say?
It says Sushi Macher.
Sushi
and the
Macher.
I means that he applied on Instagram.
Okay, Sushi Macher on Instagram. So you have 48 hours to claim your. Yeah. Actually. We'll be reaching out to you because it's really just us 4 that listen to this. So,
By the way, I'm just gonna put it out there. You can't end the show unless you end it like every public speaker now, like in this week. In the off chance that Mashiach doesn't come before Tisha B'Av, just in case, you should have
right. So no, even if he does come, we'll have Sushi Macharon after. You think after Mashiach comes, there's no podcasts anymore? Don't you know the Rambam? Everything's gonna stay the same.
Oh, it's going to be even worse. It's going to be like this week on Carbon Chatas,
It's like our star guest this week. We have Arna Cohen talking to us.
Well,
Right.
so you've lamed Eichel before. Did you feel guilty about preparing it beforehand? Like, oh, I really don't have any emunah that the Mashiach's going to come.
No, not really. Nice.
It kind of reminds me how they say like all these gedolim, they every Matzei Tisha B'Av they throw out their kiddush because they're expecting Mashiach to come next week, and like okay, it's a kiddush, that's, the paperback, like $2 kiddush. Like I want to see them like throw out like their Haggadah for Pesach, their Megillas, and then see some like real moon over there.
By the way, that's just big kinnis trying to get you to buy more. It's like the same thing with the segulas for like the putting the wine in the eye in the pockets. It's just a dry cleaner. It came up with a good marketing concept. It's the same thing here. Like the kinnis, like let's just make up a story. Okay, pick a gadol. Like he threw out his kinnis.
I think they're just annoyed that every show is still using the same kinnis that they used like 150 years ago, and like no one's updated. It's like, come on, we have new ones. They're great.
Right.
Just buy them.
By the way, that's where the story came from. The Rav was so disgusted by how poorly printed they were that he threw them out and he wanted to buy a new one for the next year. Like, oh!
It's like back to back, with the kinnis and the sleepless.
Yeah,
I don't know if this is just me. I'm gonna put this out there. I don't know if it's just me, but I'm never sure. It's like the first word. Do you just say that first word? Do you say that whole pasuk, that whole stanza, or is that just like a breaking point?
I don't know.
Break it up, or
I don't know if anyone knows. And if we are supposed to say the whole thing, I'm like, why in those old kinnis do they only put one word? Like they want us to go.
That's what it is. That's like by slichas. That's the same reason why I don't say it. It's like, oh, and just continue with Hashem v'chule v'chule. It's like if you were too lazy to print it, I'm too lazy to say it.
And also, where do you stop? Like how far that person goes? Like the next couple of it's very hard to know. So,
right.
So
that's why I just can't use those because I'm just sitting there. I'm like, I think we covered this in our most confusing parts of Judaism, Mizrach Vant. But like, how am I supposed to know?
No, I deleted the episode.
Oh, okay, good. So no one listened to that one. But it's like I just don't understand how they expect us to just be able to be just like, oh yeah, whatever, just like do this, do that. Like nobody knows. They have to know that nobody knows. So why? Like, is it that hard to just like reprint it? Yeah. You could do it in small. I don't know. Maybe.
No,
I think there's a grand total of probably like 4 or 5 people that actually know what you're supposed to do with everything, and they're just the ones who dive in.
It's the Lamed Vav Tzadikim. They're the only Lamed Vav Tzadikim. They're the only ones who know.
That's probably
By the way,
what
it's
it
the
is.
same thing with benchers. You ever notice that benchers just don't have the Harachamon if you forgot, say, or Yalav Yavai?
Yeah, it's very condescending.
I think it's like a new thing also. I don't know why. But
which is new, that they don't have it, or the Harachamon?
To have it. Like no, I mean both actually. I think
I mean like the invention of the Harachamon is like a new thing.
Yes,
it's like all these 27 genders and Harachamon. If you forgot,
yes, like because like back in the day, people didn't forget. Like now we forget.
You read this Hadaris. No, they just didn't know how to read. Like I love when people say like they used to harav and like say that they didn't know how to read. They didn't do anything. Okay.
Yeah, I always thought that was interesting. It's like the generations in the past, like they were so much greater, and then like they had to have someone be yotzei them for benching because they didn't know how to read. So like, really? Like, were they that much bigger Talmidei Chachamim than us? I don't know. I mean, I guess
they were massive Talmidei Chachamim.
I guess like the ones who actually did know something, it was impressive because like you didn't have anything written down or whatever, so you just had to like memorize it. So it's like,
that's why they didn't need to read because it was all memorized. It was like a point in reading.
Right, that's true. That's true.
Thank you, Yossi, for pulling us back from Kvira.
Yeah. No, I'll just put like one last thing on that before we go. Like, I always used to tell my grandfather. My grandfather would say like, oh, in the Haim, we didn't have insert X Y Z thing that they didn't have in the Haim that now is prevalent today. And it's like, yeah, but you guys also had like polio, so like we're kind of like balancing out here.
It's like the thing with like we're the only creatures that like drink milk past the age of 3. It's like, yeah, we're also the only creatures that like invented the internet, so whatever. It's like,
Right. Exactly. Okay, so I think there's really no other way to end it besides for that perfect besides for that conversation. So as Yossi said, in the event that there's no Tisha B'Av, we will still be releasing this episode. So everybody have an easy fast. Try to find a siyum.
Meaningful fast.
A meaningful. Well, it's really for that podcast to say.
Yeah, like we don't use that word here.
Yeah. Okay. All right, we gotta wrap this up. Okay, Yossi, thank you very much for joining us.
It was a
for
real
sure.
pleasure. I kind of feel like how Rabbeim say that like, if our school would write a book about Stam Balabas, it would be about you. Like what? That's kind of like how I feel. I know, like big Twitter guy or comedian, and I'm just some guy that our school's writing a book about. So that's kind of I appreciate that.
It's like who is it? Like Mike? They called him Mike. It's like just some guy.
Yeah. By the way, I know we're getting off topic and everything. Like, and we need to wrap this up. But like, I feel like that's a very condescending title. Like, yeah, he saved a lot of Jews, but like, they called him Mike. I don't know.
Whatever. He's not like a rabbi or anything. Whatever. It's not a big deal.
Instead of a gadol in our time, it's just like some dude.
Right. Yeah. It's gonna be like the next one by I don't know. They used to call him Jeff. Now they call him Chaim. I don't know. Whatever. Just like buy the book.
Listen, Rabbi said they don't write books about me and you. So it's.
They don't say these things about me and you, so I don't know if it's true. But they don't say it about me and you.
The whole book isn't true, but they don't write books about you and me.
Anyway, yeah. So check Yossi out. What does it say? Say Krum. Saying Krum.
Saying Krum.
Saying Krum. Say Krummer. That's actually one of the best handles on Twitter right now.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. Yossi, thank you very much for joining us. To everybody else, have a bleep this out meaningful fast, and next year or next episode we should be Zeicha in Yerushalayim.
Interview
Mashiach.
Yeah,
we should just go on for like another 10 minutes now
chairs.
after this. We should go on for another 10 minutes now with the false ending.
Again, I know you're trying to wrap up, but how are they going to end like speeches after Mashiach comes? That's like one of those things also.